Great. So welcome, Phnam. Welcome to the talk show. Thank you for taking some time out to speak with me today. So could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Rohit. I'm excited for this. So my name is Phnam Bagley. It's phenom like phenomenon.
Mhm.
I am based in San Francisco, and I run a design firm called Nonfiction. And what we do in nonfiction is that we turn science fiction into reality for a better future. And we do that with the design of hardware, systems, architectures, and anything that connects with the human aspect of life.
That's a great introduction. What motivated you to start this company?
Say it again, sorry.
What motivated you to start this company?
Oh, I worked in different design agencies throughout my career, and there's certain projects I was very interested in, and some other ones a little bit less. And so
Mhm.
I wanted to have a little bit more control over what kind of projects we involve ourselves with. And I realized very quickly that I was particularly interested in projects that have not been done before. Using technologies or merging technologies and science and design in ways that have never been tackled before. I like pretty extreme industries. For example, aerospace is actually part of my background. Anything having to do with sustainability, manufacturing, social impact, education, transportation systems is very interesting to me. If something sounds very wild and crazy, that's how you're going to get my attention, and I'm
Okay,
going to try to solve it.
interesting. That's nice. Where did you go to school and what was your major?
I went to school in three countries. So I went to school in industrial design at Strat, which is right outside of Paris, France. I'm actually from Paris,
Okay.
born and raised.
Mhm.
And then I moved to Denmark, Western Denmark, where I went to design school in Kolding. And that's where I learned more industrial design and ceramics. And then I moved to the US in 2005 to do my master's in aerospace architecture, which was a very, very small program as part of the University of Houston. And then in 2014, I put myself back to school to learn traditional leather crafting. Because as much as I love, future things, technology, and all that, I also love tradition and craft,
Mhm.
and I would like to kind of like try to push the merging of these two worlds together.
That's amazing. Did the entrepreneur life choose you or did you pick it up?
I feel like I've always been somewhat of an entrepreneur, or at least thinking outside of what was expected of me.
Mhm.
And I've always been very much of a, oh, I don't know how to do this. I just need to learn it then. And I happen to be born in this generation that had, access to the internet, and,
Mhm.
you can learn pretty much whatever you want from YouTube, and for
True.
free or for almost for free. And
Mhm.
I took advantage of that. I'm not necessarily into fitting in boxes.
Mhm.
Even as a designer, I was a designer of many things in many industries. And the way I speak about design can be very technical, all the way to very emotional.
Mhm.
And it really depends who I'm talking to and what I'm designing. So yeah.
Okay, that's nice. According to you, what is a basic skill set required to start a business?
Open-mindedness and flexibility.
Okay.
You might have a plan about what's going to happen tomorrow or next
Mhm.
week or next month. It
Yeah.
is probably not going to happen,
Mhm.
or is going to something else is going to happen, and you need to be ready, right?
True.
If you get upset or frustrated when things don't go your way exactly the way you intended,
Mhm.
the entrepreneurial world is not for you.
Mhm. Emotional intelligence, that's true, that's required.
Mhm.
And how difficult is it to start a business in 2021, especially given this pandemic situation?
Well, I didn't start the business this year. I started it 5 years ago, but
Mhm.
we did go through the pandemic in 2020, and it
Mhm.
was quite a challenge. But I think like in life, things happen,
Mhm.
right? And you could choose to bundle yourself in a blanket and cry until it ends, or you can do something about it. So what we did is that we gathered our team together and we started thinking about how can we do more of what we want to do and attract more of these clients and projects. So that's why, among many other initiatives, we started a video series called Future on YouTube. And it's basically all about demystifying design and talking about the future of everything. So
Yeah.
basically, we talk about what we love doing, how we love doing it, and hopefully find people who want to do it with us.
Yeah, I saw some of the videos in those series and they're amazing. I would definitely recommend anyone watching this video to go check that out. Future.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So while starting this business back maybe 5 or 6 years ago, what were some of your failures and what were some of your monumental successes?
So I was a freelancer for a long time before I started this business. So I had an understanding of what it took to write contracts and building relationships with clients and making sure that the work that I was providing would keep them around for a long time.
Mhm.
And I thought that that would be enough to start a business and kind of like rolling through it, but it was absolutely not enough.
Okay.
I had to learn kind of like the hard way that even if you ever have relationships, when you start a business, people think you just started
Mm.
in this field the year you start your business, even if you've done it for like 12, 15 years before. So I had to justify a lot of that.
Mm.
Another thing that was very hard as a designer is that the work that I had done before starting my company actually belonged to other studios that I work for. So I cannot show them as my work,
Mm.
even then I
That's
worked on them. So having a relevant portfolio was something that required a lot of patience and a lot of hard work and a lot of walking the fine lines of what can we show, when can we show it, in under what circumstances. So that was hard. That was probably the hardest. Now that we're 5 years in, we have a very diverse portfolio, creating a lot of content ourselves,
Mhm.
and you can definitely see the difference in the way people perceive us.
Definitely. And what were some of your monumental successes? Like when you cleared a milestone, you were like, okay, so we have reached somewhere.
So I think one thing that's been very apparent is the way we've evolved every year. So when we started this company, we were like, okay, let's start an industrial design firm. We do hardware, we work with clients, we work with engineers, with factories, and we put out products. And then very quickly, we decided to do more than that. We look more into human factors and how deep we can go into this. So that's what we did in 2017. In 2018, we started focusing a lot more on the human and transformational technologies and how they can, support wellness, health, performance, and longevity. In 2019, we took a huge jump into the world of education. I didn't know much about education other than the fact that I went to school and I was a professor for 4 years,
Mhm.
but really redefining K through 12 education for a country like Singapore, which is the
Mhm.
project we're working on, was monumental and incredible. And then 2020, that's when we thought a lot about education in the sense of showing the world how design works. And
Mhm.
that's also the year when we came back to the space industry. So I put on hold the space industry for about 10 years
Mhm.
for many reasons. But now that we have an understanding of what it takes to make humans powerful and happy and independent,
Mhm.
I think this is a great time for us to do this. So continuing every year to redefine who we are, what we do,
Mhm.
and being in control of it is really nice.
Mhm. That's amazing. Okay, so apart from working, what do you do when you're not working?
I like silence. That's
Okay.
one thing I've realized in 2020.
Uh-huh.
Before 2020, I like working with music in my ears or whatever, but I've realized I really love silence now.
Okay.
So anything to do with yoga
Mm.
or sitting in front of in a silent room by myself and not thinking about anything, that has been wonderful. Now we're talking, it's winter, so any winter sport is pretty fun for me. I love
Mm.
snowboarding,
Okay.
hiking. I have a very, very nice group of friends with who we hang out and have a good time. Fun fact about my friends, a lot of them are not designers, so we never talk about work outside of work, and that's vital for my mental health.
Definitely, definitely. It's definitely good to have like friends who are from different backgrounds and different like in work environments, especially like if you're constantly hanging out with the same type of people, it doesn't really give you room to talk about other types of different things, right? So I
Yeah,
agree with you, definitely. Okay. Could you share an important lesson that you learned from life?
an important lesson.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a deep one. Uh, Hold on to your ideas,
Hmm.
even if everybody else thinks it's crazy. That would be probably the motto of my life. People have told me I was crazy since basically I was born. Uh, um, and but following through is what is going to help you get there, right? I could walk around all day and say I'm going to do these extraordinary things, but if I don't follow through, people are not going to believe me, right? So doing small things first, and then bigger things, and then bigger things, and achieving those great breakthroughs one after another is going to, help me build the confidence into believing that I can do it again or do it bigger,
Hmm.
but also make people around me trust that I can do it, whether they're colleagues, clients, even personal people in my personal life.
Hmm.
Being someone that can be relied on is probably the most important thing in life.
That's a good life lesson, actually. So actually following through whatever you're talking about, that's really important. Okay, what keeps you moving forward in life?
I love my life and I love my
Okay.
job.
Mm. That's what keeps you moving forward, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite book and why?
So I've been asked this question a lot, and it's surprisingly not a recent book. It's actually two books, and they had a very important place in my life. So they were given to me when I was about 12. I
Mhm.
was living in France, and I had a cousin who lived in the U.S. who sent them to me. So one of the books is A Brief History of Time from Stephen Hawking.
Mhm.
Imagine as a 12-year-old receiving that book, like that's
Yeah,
a little crazy. And then
definitely.
the other book he sent with it was a Calvin and Hobbes book. I don't know if you have that in Canada, but it's this little boy who has an imaginary friend in the form of a tiger, and the stories get very deep and emotional very quickly.
Mhm.
Um, so I think what I love about these two books is they were given to me at once, and they were, one was about physics and the other one was about the metaphysical.
Mhm.
And I never realized it until recently, but that's how my brain expanded immediately at age 12.
Okay,
And I didn't see any limits to wherever I could go thanks to those two books.
that's
So yeah.
amazing. Okay, okay. So your title is co-founder and creative director. Does that mean that you also handle like I think your most of your functions probably overlap with the functionalities of CEO, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I act as a CEO,
Mhm.
but one thing that's very special about our company, the way I wanted to build it, is that
Mhm.
everybody who's in charge still does the work in
Okay.
the sense that I still design every day. My business partner, who is also my husband, still designs every day.
Mhm.
Because we didn't get into this business to run a
Mhm.
company. Running a company is just part of the what we do, but it's about building things. It's about using our creativity, our critical thinking to build new innovative products. And I've seen that a lot where working with other companies in the past, where I see very very talented people who
Mhm.
become the owner of design studios and then stop designing. It's very wasteful to to turn these talented people into CEOs
Uh-huh.
exclusively,
Yeah.
and I can see how it can be very difficult to get away from that
Mhm.
position because it is very demanding.
Yeah.
But one thing that we wanted to do was to grow the company so slowly
Mhm.
that it allowed us to continue doing the thing that we love doing every day.
That's great. So what's the best part and what's the worst part of being an owner of a company, like being at that CEO or co-founder position?
The best part is that you get to build the culture of your company
Hmm.
from scratch.
Yeah.
That's always been very important to me because creativity is not something you turn on and turn off. It's
Mm-hmm.
you have to have an environment that allows for it to blossom, right? And that's always been very important to me. What is difficult is handling the balance of things.
Yeah.
Are we getting enough clients? Are they the clients that we want? Are they fulfilling all of our employees and or myself?
Mm.
Are we going the right direction? Is this client pulling our leg? What's all that stuff.
Definitely. Do you have a pledge for 2021?
A pledge for 2021. So one thing that we're focusing on at our company is working more on social impact and
Okay.
automation this year. As I said earlier, every year we have kind of a focus, and this is our focus for this year. So
Mm.
what we did is that we started partnering up with companies and organizations all over the world that focus on these two things.
Mhm.
For example, one of them is MIT Solve, which is a social impact branch of Solve teams that meet up with Solve members
Mhm.
and help each other solve education problems, health problems, anything having to do with sustainable development goals
Mhm.
set up by the United Nations. So yeah, it's pretty great. It's fulfilling. It's beautiful. It's incredible to meet people who live in very different places in the world, speak a different language, but have the same goals for the future. That's wonderful to be part of.
Yeah, that's a amazing pledge and a wonderful cause as well. That's great. Okay, so we have reached the short rapid fire sections of the interview. So I'm going to ask
Mhm.
you some short questions, and you can also keep your answers short and to the point.
Okay.
And yeah, so the first question is three things that no one knows about you.
um, unless I tell them, it's going to be very hard for them to figure out that I'm French,
Okay.
right? Probably because my accent, whatever, or my appearance. Um, Three things. It still surprises people when I tell them that I used to design spacecraft. I mean, I still do.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, yeah. Um, my favorite thing in life
Mhm.
is eating and cooking.
Oh,
I love it way more than design, way more than work, way more than anything else. There's nothing I love more than that.
interesting. Okay. What's the craziest thing someone has done for you?
Craziest thing someone has done for me.
Mhm.
Wow. I don't know.
Okay,
Has
we'll take some time
Yeah, I
to think
mean,
about it.
I've been taken to hikes that almost killed me. I guess you
Oh,
could,
okay.
yeah,
That's
you
an
could put that
incident.
in there. Yeah, I almost died in Tierra del Fuego, which is like the big island south of Patagonia
Oh
in
my God.
southern Argentina.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're alive and you started this company and we're doing this interview.
Can
Wow.
I interrupt for a second? I need to plug in my computer. Sorry.
Okay, okay, sure, sure. What's the one thing that you would like to change about yourself?
I need to be more patient.
Mhm. What's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal.
Mhm.
I like snakes.
Mhm.
I
Any?
always find it funny. Yeah. I don't know. Something very colorful and
Okay.
venomous.
That's an interesting choice and a very unique one. I don't think anyone has ever said that. Okay. A rumor about you that you wish were true.
Oh God. Um, I love your questions. I have never been asked these questions before.
I'm glad you like
That I
them.
wish was true. Is there? So it's very hard for me to answer that question because I'm a fairly transparent person.
Okay.
Um, um, wow. I actually don't know. I don't know how to answer that
Okay.
question.
Well, that's okay. Maybe we can take the next one. Um, or maybe you can, drop an answer later to me on an email
Yeah.
or something. What's the easiest way to piss you off?
To make me late.
Okay. And now you have to rate yourself on the following from 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. And first one is quick learner,
9.
book enthusiast,
6.
as a leader,
7.
um, as a friend,
8.
as a wife.
8.
Okay, so that was the last question. Now we have reached the end of this interview. And one last question to you is, could you think of 3 other people who would be interested in doing some, like an interview with me, just like this, in this setting?
Yeah. Actually, one of the actually two of the people who I work with would be
Hmm.
wonderful. One of them is Nadia Kutureva.
Hmm.
She's a designer from Siberia.
Okay.
Fascinating woman,
Hmm.
incredible. Another one is she's actually our film writer
Hmm.
for Future,
Okay.
and she is an Emmy winning,
Wow.
film producer.
Oh my
Um,
God. Wow.
yeah,
Amazing.
I don't know if you've seen the documentary Cave of Forgotten Dreams. She was a producer on that. It's
Probably.
a Werner Herzog movie.
Hmm.
Anyway, incredible. She's like a world expert in ancient sharks and woolly mammoths and
It's
first
amazing.
human cave. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. Would be great if you can just, introduce me to those 2 people, and I would be happy to do an interview with them if they are willing to do it with me.
Oh yeah. I can't wait for you to talk to them. It's
Okay,
gonna be.
great. So, Phanam, thank you for, joining in today. Thank you for sharing glimpses of your life. Thank you for sharing things that people might not know about you, and they might know after seeing this interview, and sharing about your work, your company, your culture, and everything. I'm glad we had this interview today.
Yeah, thank you, Rohit. Thank you for inviting me. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for the hard questions.
Thanks. I'm glad you like them. Okay, Phanam, take care. Bye.
Bye.